Welcome back to Football Fun Dates. It's time for the Champions League semi-finals. I personally rubbished a few of the quarterfinals called. RB Leipzig beat Atletico Madrid in the end convincingly, even though the scoreline didn't suggest it. Lyon, Man City, let's not go there. I'm quite red-faced still itself. Coming to tonight's game, the first semi-final, Leipzig versus PSG. Kern, PSG, a huge boost. Mbappe is fit, but does he start the game or does he play all of it?
I think he's going to start the game. That's what at least the press conference suggests, because he came on last weekend. The manager has said that there was no reaction from him. He's trained the next 6 days. He should be good to start. Whether he plays the full 90, he's not that sure of. They'll take a call. I think obviously scoreline will be a big function of that. But he's definitely going to start. PSG do have some other troubles though that I think are bigger concerns if you ask me. Verratti resumed training on Sunday after calf trouble. But he's not that sure if the risk will be taken for Verratti to start the game.
Right.
Similar thing with Idrissa Gueye, who had a muscle strain in training over the weekend. So again, two big ones for them, because that midfield is sort of centered around these two winning the ball for them. Paredes, if he does come in for one of them, which he probably will,
is not
exactly.
So I think the way Leipzig firstly set up against Atletico Madrid to shut out a well-organized side by being better organized is very difficult, but they did that. And PSG, coming to the game against Atlanta, on another day, Neymar could have had a hat-trick himself, right? He was definitely the player for them in that game. But outside of him, they did look a little susceptible in defense, a little bit in midfield, correct? So Neymar, if he turns up and finishes those chances, obviously is not a problem. We are finally seeing him on the semi-final stage for PSG, right? A lot of football fans in general outside supporting Messi and Ronaldo have picked Neymar to be a good total footballer, good dribbling, good finishing, pace, right? Hopefully we get to see that in the semi-final. But how would they set up then? Because I feel then they might not go with Sarabia. They might just start with Mbappe. Di Maria's fit, they'll go with Di Maria. Since they don't have that other holding midfielder, they might not risk Paredes and just go with Marquinhos and Herrera and let the attack flow, right? Or do you think they should consider being a little more conservative, assuming Leipzig are organized and will show up the same way?
I think they need to be a little conservative. When I mean little, I mean extremely little, just pragmatic and not Man City crazy. Not what Pep did. They shouldn't change their game around. They have an astounding attacking unit. They should use it. I think the bigger challenge for them is going to be Upamecano. That guy has been an absolute beast for Leipzig. He had only one foul against Atletico, which is massive when you're a centre-back who's up against Diego Costa. Just getting that one foul is something, to get away with, and solid performance. Whereas if we see the Atlanta game, as you mentioned, there's so many fouls in that game. I think Atlanta's game plan was just to keep committing those fouls and just not let the game flow. This might be a very different one to that.
I think that's a good point, Karan, because even our, UCL expert Prashant said that in the last game, Atlanta have a certain game plan. Unfortunately for them, the referee wasn't buying any of it. And to be fair, they did not have a plan B. So in the end, PSG, although us being football romantics ourselves, did deserve to come here. They are here because they deserve it. Simple as that. They got the comeback win, 2 goals in 2 minutes. And that's, fortune favors the brave, right? They threw everything at it. Just one small thing before we move on to the next game. If I had to look at Leipzig, and we had, Sabitzer is someone we've been talking about. Do you see Herrera then being one of those typical man-marking Sabitzer? Because if we lock Sabitzer out of this game, they might not have much going for themselves ahead, right?
Yeah, I think Eden Hazard is finally going to sleep easy because Herrera's going to leave his house and then mark someone else. It's a role that I think was built for the likes of Herrera. I think he relishes that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to pick this man and I'm going to shut him out. I think he really enjoys that role, and it is something that could come in. And Leipzig are a great attacking unit, right? And they have these individual moments of brilliance. But I think what's key for them is going to be that midfield battle, especially because of the injuries that PSG have. Leipzig have a very good attacking midfield unit. Instead of that individual Neymar or Mbappe, they have a good unit. So Herrera sort of influencing that by, trying to take one person out of it might be something we see. But I think Leipzig, the unit itself, will be a little more formidable.
But Karan, you also mentioned something about PSG and the number of games they played in the gap, right? Give me more on that, please. I'm really interested in hearing that.
Yeah. So obviously there's this stat that's out there which shows how the quarterfinals, both the teams that matched each other, the amount of number of days they took to play each game during in the last 60 days up to the quarterfinals, how it differed. So PSG had one game per 20 days, whereas Atlanta had one game per 4.5 days. Similarly, Leipzig had one game per 20 days, but Atletico had one game for 5 days. Again, Bayern had one game per 10, Barcelona one per 5, Lyon one per 20, and Man City one per 4.28. So obviously that has been a difference to the freshness of teams, to be able to be in there and to have this thing around them. Which is why this will finally be a more equally matched set of fixtures, because now no team can say, oh, the preseason took much. I mean, the build up to the Champions League took more out of me. I think now it's going to be a lot more evenly matched, these semi-finals. There'll be proper tactics into it, not player tiredness, which anyway shouldn't be that big a deal, but clearly it did turn out as stats would suggest.
I think it's a very good point to mention because clearly there is some logic to it. We are seeing that in the semi-finalists that we have now, right? Fatigue is not an excuse I would want to give any of the players, but some of them have had an abnormal, I'm not saying it's not expected from a professional footballer, but abnormal rest phase, getting back to your strongest possible playing self, playing out games every 3-4 days, risking injuries, another 15-day break, back into a knockout tournament, right? Yes, players do have international tournaments coming in, but this was a little different, right? Predictions for this one, I'm saying PSG will probably be doing just enough. 2-1 or 3-1 to PSG.
Yeah, I agree. I think the PSG 2-1 is what I see as well. The attacking power is just too good, and Neymar is in really good form. And I'm looking forward to see him play. Just the way he dribbled past the Atlanta players last week was brilliant to watch. And I'm just looking forward to some good football. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a cracker of a game.
I, in fact, think Mbappe will be the player to watch in this game, and we should get to see him. So, a good semi-final on hand tonight. Moving on to the next game, Lyon versus Bayern. I didn't personally expect Lyon to make it this far. If you do look at the way they played against Juventus and against Man City, a normal football fan would say, okay, they were the better team, they capitalized on mistakes, and they made it so far. Do you see this Bayern Munich side affording them any of those mistakes? I'm not trying to take anything away from Lyon or covering my own tracks. I definitely feel Lyon have not had the best performance, right? It's like kind of, how Portugal won the Euros. They had those draws and those extended games and they weren't the most prolific team, but they made it. So I'm not saying Lyon can't do it, but come on, realistically, this has to be it, right?
Yeah, this has to be it. Honestly, I still believe, I remember having this conversation with you off air, where I did say, I think Lyon do have a chance because they somehow turn up against City. The two games they played against City before that, they didn't lose. Memphis Depay sort of shows up against them. So I did believe that they had that in them. But yeah, Lyon are a team that rely too much on the other team having the ball and capitalizing on errors made by them and pouncing on them. So where they have been clinical in that sense, and it should be given to them. Being clinical is a very big thing. Not every team can rely on that strategy and reach the semi-finals of the
And
Champions League.
Bayern love having the ball with them. They love moving it around.
Yeah. So, but doing that to Bayern Munich is another thing on its own. I mean, that performance against Barcelona, man, it's still sending shockwaves, right? It sends such deep shockwaves that Barcelona now are like just all over the place, and they've ended Barcelona. That was the performance that Bayern put in. So I don't see how that Bayern Munich team makes errors and does this. I mean, they did make an error against the Barcelona game with that own goal in the first to make it 1-1. But at the moment he scored that own goal,
he started laughing. He's like, cool, I thought you were going to score 4. Guess you'll score 6 today. He just laughed. Oh, exactly. Madman laughed.
That's the composure. Imagine, he scored an own goal against Barcelona and he started laughing. That's the confidence this Bayern Munich team has. And I don't think that Lyon are getting too many errors from this team, man.
I think that's very well rounded off, right? Boateng and Alaba now a centre back, do tend to have those blips in games. If it's really meant to be in the stars for Lyon, are we saying that that's the only way they're going to win this game? Errors only. That's it. Are they, or do you see maybe a Dembele playing, being just great on the counter, right? Just being good on just good counter-attacking football.
So good counter-attack could work. The only reason I'm saying that is you saw Bayern's high line against Barcelona, and everyone was screaming for Barcelona to bring on pace with Griezmann, and Partey to sort of take advantage of that high line. But having said that, the thing with Bayern is they're not a one-dimensional team that only has one way to break a team down. They are a complete attacking unit right now. If one thing doesn't work, they go out of the width. They have the narrow channels. They press. They are a complete attacking team, man. They just have all solutions right now. And unfortunately, I don't think Lyon have enough to keep them at bay for 90 minutes.
And it's not just Lewandowski now, right, Kern? Yes, he is the standout player for Bayern Munich. Could possibly have won the Ballon d'Or, but Mueller seems to be ticking as well. And that should be warning signs for any side, be it a Barcelona who beat a Real Madrid, be it even PSG, maybe in the finals. Mueller is a core to this side. A lot of people underestimate Mueller, and we spoke about it in the last episode itself, so I won't take too much of it. But for me, I feel if Lyon has any chance, they really need to shut out Mueller from the game first, more than Lewandowski do, because all the pressure then comes on.
Yeah, I think, and they also have Gnabry. So they have three very potent attacking units. So I completely agree with you, man. Mueller is so essential. He's so clinical. People, because of the season Lewandowski has had, Mueller has gone under the radar. But you saw the game against Barcelona. He was clinical. He took every chance that fell to him where Lewandowski couldn't. Lewandowski was dying for that goal. He did get it finally. But if you just look at how clinical Mueller was, he was so essential. Even Gnabry was brilliant. And then you have someone like Coutinho coming off the bench and then just putting in the performance he did.
Let's
again,
Do you want to speak about that a little bit? You want to speak about that a little bit? Imagine paying 140 million for a player to then ship him out on loan, to come off the bench to score 2 more against you, and
an assist.
This goes back to last year when you paid that side, Liverpool, that much money to rebuild their side to knock you out in the semi-finals, and now possibly pay them more money if that player wins the Champions League final, right? Someone somewhere there has made a very bad negotiation all around and is probably in danger of losing their job. I won't go on any longer. Predictions for this game.
Yeah. I mean, Bayern 5-0. I just don't see anything else. Bayern 5-0.
I don't know. I do see Lyon probably trying a little different and being more solid and not relying on mistakes, right? I still probably will say a 3-1 or a 4-1, conceding a goal for sure, Bayern. So essentially, we are saying PSG and Bayern Munich in the final. A quick comment on an early prediction there. I still say Bayern are the favourites, but PSG is best here to win.
PSG is best here to win, definitely. The first time they're reaching it in 25 years. Great attacking unit, everything. But again, I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but Bayern just are a complete squad right now. There's very few kinks in this armor, and I think Bayern Munich are going to win it. I've been saying it for a while now, and I'm going to say it again.
I think we both have been saying it for a while. So
yeah.
It was one of our only correct predictions from the start of this Champions League season.
so far.
But yeah, that was it for our episode today. Semi-finals preview of the Champions League. Do let us know your predictions for this game. Who do you think will be the standout player for both the games, like the PSG and Bayern Munich versus Lyon? Let us know if you want us to put certain kind of content. We're happy to pick up suggestions from the comments box. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like on our videos so that we can keep growing and get you good news or good content every other day. Cheers. See you in the next one.